they would have been, geniuses, but they were idiots.
Push that car to its very limit.
Money, money, money.
We've been praying for times
Exactly.
like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back after the Canadian Grand Prix and Kalash. I just wanted to see more formation laps. Honestly, it was very entertaining. The start.
Oh yeah, definitely. We had 3 formation laps, which was interesting to see. Interesting, I quote, because
Yeah,
well, Lindblad didn't even start. His car just refused to start the race, even if the race didn't even start. So that was interesting to see. Um, Malfunctions with the lights, and then finally we got underway. And who had the best start there, do you think?
I mean the Ferraris didn't have, unfortunately, this weekend.
Yeah.
I must say. But McLaren was pretty good up until like the lap 2 out because they had a stupid strategy. So
Yeah, well,
yeah,
they put Norris on inters, who got a really good start. He got into P1 immediately, but again, he was on inters. Like, what's the point of putting inters on a dry track? It reminds me of Ferrari in 2022 in Brazil. Remember that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it had rained, they would have been, geniuses, but they were idiots.
It
So
rained as much as Miami. Mm,
yeah, exactly.
a single drop of rain over the 2 hours, I don't think it's inters worthy. But in any case, McLaren, they got into the lead, pitted for dries, and then one of the cars blew up.
Yeah,
So
Piastri also had a
yeah,
incident with Albon. So a terrible, I think, weekend for McLaren. Uh, on the other hand, Mercedes also kind of skeptical, especially with almost crash firstly, Russell and Antonelli, and then an unfortunate DNF for Russell.
yeah, many of the um, let's say close encounters between Russell and Antonelli almost resulted in a crash. Those were very, very close. And this proves that Antonelli is a very aggressive driver and is not afraid to hold back. Remember how Toto said yesterday in qualifying? He said something like, "We'll talk about it in the discussion. Just don't lose your cool. Don't start talking on the radio." Even on the radio, he was more disciplined, but on track, you could really see his real racecraft, even against his own teammate, which is good to see also in the long term.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive that he came as the number 2 driver after Lewis went to Ferrari, and he sort of didn't care that he had George Russell by his side, and just went 100% into every race, and now he's winning races, leading the championship, which is incredible. Firstly, and secondly, as you said, being the aggressive driver, and I think if you want to win that world championship, you can't just step back. You just got to go for it, and that's what Kimi is doing currently, which I'm pretty impressed. But I don't know if there should have been some team orders because it was just so. And we remember the crash with the McLarens with Lando DNFing in 2025, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So it was almost the same scenario,
yeah.
but luckily it didn't happen.
On the pit straight, I remember that. Yeah, that was a very peak moment right there for McLaren. Not for McLaren fans, but peak, negative peak for them, not at the positive, as the usual sense. But on the other hand, like Ferrari still seems to still have the midfield spot, the top of the midfield, because the engine is not as good as Red Bulls or Mercedes, and the aerodynamics are great. That works perfectly, but again, they're not at the level of the top three. McLaren, well, McLaren, okay, we can kind of they're in and out of the top spots, but Red Bull and Mercedes right now are, I think, stronger in general than Ferrari.
Yeah, I think Red Bull really improved, especially with the wing. that they came up with. A very similar one to the Macarena from Ferrari. And yeah, just Ferrari, I think, has to still improve the car a lot, as you said. Although Lewis, I think, performed really well this weekend, fighting for the podium and at the end finishing P2, I think is a really good result. Although we go Russell DNF, then the McLarens were struggling. So let's see what happens. Monaco, I think, is a very technical track, and it could really be a big chance for Ferrari to get the win, especially with Leclerc.
Yeah, we saw also Leclerc in 2024. He could really push that car to its very limit. And once he does not make any form of mistakes, or even Ferrari doesn't make mistakes for in this sense, then you could really see the potential of Leclerc in Monaco. Because as we know, Leclerc has been very, very unfortunate in Monaco over his whole Formula One career, with crashes and technical issues and gearbox failures and whatnot. And finally, in 2024, he reached the top of the podium with a win. So, as you said, this could be also a great opportunity. New cars, new regulations, new feeling also for the track. This could be a good chance also for Ferrari to shine.
Yeah, especially as you said, with the electricity and with the new ways of driving that track. I mean, also Russell got that failure, I think, because of the electricity, which, as I said, I'm not a big fan of F1, going electric. It's kind of, I think, a stupid decision. But if we want to act eco, as it as it if it isn't really, but yeah, I mean, for us, I think it's a big pity because I think he would have finished P2, and just losing 18 points, it just hurts, especially if he had the pace.
Yeah, it was either lose, what, 7 points, but 18 is really a lot. And this brings Antonelli to a 42 or 43 point lead, I believe, in the championship. And another thing to mention in Monaco, the engine power doesn't really matter that much because you don't have any straights that could really, where you could really push top speed on the car. And since Ferrari has a deficit of about, I think, 30 horsepower to Red Bull and Mercedes, um, this will not show that much in Monaco. It's mostly about, setup, aerodynamics, and crucially, driver skill.
I think it could be a really boring race, honestly, in my opinion. Uh, as you said, there aren't many trades where to deploy that electricity and where to get that power. So, I mean, let's see what happens. But we've seen also with the multiple pit stops rule, it didn't really help out. So, I mean, Monaco is Monaco. It's about that. It's about qualifying and about that lap one. But I think it should be still kept on the calendar just because of its glory and the iconic, race.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't know, playing the I don't know, not playing the World Cup, or something like that.
exactly.
Not playing the Champions League final. Yeah,
And
it's just
already
crazy.
they're rotating Barcelona, I believe, and Spa, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
They're rotating it off
Yeah.
off the calendar to make space for Madrid and some other potential tracks that are on the way. Maybe like the one in Saudi Arabia, Qiddiya. Uh, excuse my pronunciation, but yeah, the new track
Mm.
in Saudi.
Yeah. Money, money, money.
Yep.
So it is what it is. But at least they kept Spa, but I don't think it's a good idea that they're gonna, keep it out every 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
And what about Franco Colapinto pushing that absolute tractor of an Alpine into P6? Maybe his one of his best results in his career in Formula One, not by position, but just by how he managed the race.
Yeah, Franco. I mean, yeah, P6 in Alpine, firstly, that's crazy. And secondly, how did he do it? Because he also tapped the wall during the race, the pit exit, and finishing P6 with that car, it's pretty impressive. So I think Alpine is going in a good way. Well, let's see what happens in the next few races. And yeah, they had I think, a pretty good turnaround, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And there is momentum. As you say, they're going in a good way. And if they keep the momentum up, then they definitely have potential to improve the standings and get points consistently instead of just once in a while.
And what about the new teams? Cadillac, do you see, them stepping up somewhere into the points position, or is it too far to tell?
I mean, it's only the fifth race right now of the calendar. So it's a little bit early, but as of now, Cadillac isn't doing much. It's just there. It's just existing. So they definitely have the driver lineup. The car is kind of bad. We saw also suspension failure, I think, for Cadillac for Perez as he was entering the uh, pits. The right tire just flew off and destroyed itself. It was broken from a few corners earlier, but there's problems with Cadillac also internally. And Audi, I think, it's got a good potential. It's on track, taking over from Stake. They're not starting new, first of all, and they've got good drivers. So I think Audi has actual potential for this season and also the upcoming seasons.
Yeah, it's like when you have a PE lesson and you're the last kid being picked, like Cadillac, like you're there, but nobody really wants you. So
Yeah, exactly. That is a perfect explanation, actually. Oh my god.
I I think if they would have brought maybe other drivers like Ricciardo or somebody, it would have more aura. Like, generally I think it would have more passion than Checo and Bottas. And about Audi, I think they're doing pretty good. It's not like something special. I mean, it's okay, but it's not something like it would be a big effect so far. So, yeah, let's see what happens in the next races. I hope Cadillac will catch up the others because we want to see more competitive cars, and Aston has made also a huge step, I think. Alonso was fighting in the first few laps for P10, and yeah, then happened what happened.
Yeah. I mean, Aston Martin, they're starting rock bottom. So they only can go upwards. And as you said, he was fighting for P10 at the start, which is wow for this season for Aston Martin. But they just got to keep their head down and keep going because initially the project for the AMR 26 was a complete flop, as we saw in preseason testing and the first maybe three races. And then we saw a little bit of improvement, like very slight, but there is something. And as you said, they're actually making moves, you know, for development as well of the car.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they will come back to the top when Alonso was fighting for P3.
Yeah,
But I think they could also change the driver. We know who,
yeah.
but I don't think it's gonna
He must
happen
be
that
unnamed.
very soon.
Yeah.
And what are your predictions for the Monaco Grand Prix?
It all depends on qualifying, so it's really hard to predict for the race. But, you know, Mercedes is just dominating right now. So I think Mercedes is going to get the win, this time with Russell. Russell is going to get his redemption in Monaco.
Okay.
Um, and probably followed by Leclerc. I'm going to put Leclerc in P2 and let's put Hamilton in P3. Kimi Antonelli's streak is going to end in Monaco. That's my prediction.
Very interesting
How
one, I
about
must
yours?
say.
Yes.
I I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Leclerc is gonna get the win. I hope he's gonna get it.
Okay.
If it would happen, that would be like amazing.
That
Honestly,
would be
finally a
crazy.
Ferrari year. We've been waiting, so long, mate.
Yeah.
Like Carlos Sainz is the last Ferrari winner. That's crazy when you think about it.
Oh my god. Such a long time ago.
So yeah, hopefully they get it. I
Yeah.
mean, I think also Russell is gonna have to do a very good job in order to catch Kimi. So I think he could be on the podium. And Kimi, I mean, let's see if he's actually gonna keep the streak or not. I mean, it's pretty impressive, getting 4 wins in a row now.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
those 4 wins are very important also for his morale and for the team's morale, and of course points wise for the championship. How about, hear me out, first Hamilton win in Ferrari and Monaco?
Oh,
I'm not predicting that.
yo,
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. If it happens,
that would be mad. That would be mad. The whole, I think, F1 community would go crazy.
yeah, that would be like insane.
Like eighth title incoming.
It's finally coming after 1 win. Finally, we've been praying for times
Exactly.
like this.
Exactly.
Oh my god! Imagine if it happens.
Yeah, I imagine.
You can
I
only
mean,
daydream right
if
now.
the conditions are gonna be crazy, I think it could happen, honestly.
Equalizing the field and a little bit of luck. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
It's Monaco. All right, that's it for the Canadian Grand Prix, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. And make sure to follow us on Chasing the Flag _F1 on Instagram. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, soon also on YouTube. Make sure to stay tuned. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, not next week, but the one after. On the 7th of June is the race. Make sure to watch that because it's going to be interesting, hopefully. But yeah, that's it. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.